Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I am Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
This is episode 41 of this little podcast of ours. You know, these are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys in public, if you will. Sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, to be introspective. But most of all, of course, again, we want to open up the lines of conversation between men and women, husbands and wives, friends and lovers, all of those people in between. We appreciate you guys for tuning in with us again. All right. And if you're listening to us right now, we hope that you enjoyed your Memorial Day holiday. Hope you're still having a little revelry and whatnot, and hope you are enjoying it. And if you're back at work, then hope you are enjoying work again after having a little bit of a rest. Of course, you can check us out on all streaming services. We are everywhere that you can hear podcasts, but we are especially on, of course, Black with No Chaser Radio. Make sure that you download the Black with No Chaser app, the BWNC radio app, on the Google Play Store or in the iTunes Store. Make sure that you are checking that out. Make sure you're checking us out every Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's a lot of dope podcasts on there as well. So make sure you check out all of those other great Black creators, and that you're checking out Black with No Chaser as well. And of course, if you want to see our bright, shining faces, you know what to do. You're looking at us right here. We are on YouTube. All right. It's youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Of course, you know, when I drop my finger right here, for those of you watching me on YouTube, all you got to do is go like and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Make sure you do that right now. We are creeping up on we're almost at 900 subscribers, trying to get to 1,000, man. We're trying to monetize this channel, man. So show some love. Make sure you share it. Make sure you tell a friend about it. Tell them to come over if you have enjoyed any of these conversations that we've had. YouTube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. YouTube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Please make sure you do that. And of course, this is brought to you by the Kundi Collection. All right. Of which we are wearing today. And if you will look over to my right and your left, we have a brand new design that we are debuting on the website that we will have available. Love is the new money. Bam. As you see it draped over my bride's beautiful bosom right here. Love is the new money, available at www.kundicollective.com. Check out the Kundi collection there. And of course, this is available, uhuru, which means freedom in Swahili. Make sure you go check it out. We've got designs for any state of mind. It's a great way for you to express your Blackness. All right. And to represent Mississippi or wherever you're from. Make sure you go check that out again. www.kundicollective.com. Shouts out to my man Carlos Miller and the whole 85 South crew, but of course, particularly to Carlos Miller, who is a native of Oxford, Mississippi, and one of the homies. Had on, of course, one of the Kundi collection shirts. Ain't no genius like Black Mississippi Genius, and got a lot of traction on last week. I think we, sold about.
Thanks, Carlos.
Yes, thanks,
Appreciate
Carlos.
You.
So the cash register was ringing up on the website, man. We got a lot of hits on the website for you guys from Carlos, sporting that T-shirt. Appreciate it. You'll be seeing more of that as it comes, of course, and more of these new designs. So make sure you check those out as well. But anyway, want to get right into it. A few things, of course. We have a new addition to the family. We have a new puppy that has been welcomed into the Franklin household. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Rocco T'Challa Franklin. All right. Rocco T is what I'm calling him right now. A very cute little tiny puppy that we have here in the household. And the little one has gotten it, of course, in honor of the great year that she's had. But low key, my wife is also very excited about having a new puppy.
It might not be low key. I'm trying to keep it low key.
You're trying to keep it low key, but in actuality, you're really just as excited.
Probably a little bit more. Well, maybe not as much. Maybe not as much as she is, but yeah, I'm definitely excited.
So yes, we got a new puppy in the household. It's been a while for the Franklin family having a pet in the household. We made several attempts in previous years at having some pets.
Baby, we've made no attempt at all.
That was the beginning. There was an attempt. Our 2 previous dogs that we had, that was an attempt.
Oh, that was years ago.
That was years ago. We partying.
That was years ago.
That was years ago. And I think being a pet parent is kind of like being a parent. It's kind of trial and error. Well,
you were traumatized by the last experience. Mm-hmm. So we had to work through that trauma with you.
Shaka was the grew to the size of a small miniature horse. And I had to go into the backyard every day and feed Shaka. And Shaka was like a big kid, a big, huge, giant kid, and he wanted to play. And I had to wrestle with him. And, it was not a fun thing because he was extremely strong and playful. I got his mother, Sheba, for my wife as a present, as I was trying to win her back. I was trying to court her back, and she wanted a puppy, and I went and got her that puppy. I would have gotten her an alligator or a camel. I'd have gotten her whatever she had asked for at that time because I was trying to win my wife back. And lo and behold, that dog, Sheba, and then had puppies, and then had a son that we kept, and both of those dogs grew and became very big dogs that required a lot of care and a lot of food and a lot of maintenance. And somewhere in the mix with those 2 dogs, the woman who I got the puppy for originally just disappeared.
She disappeared into motherhood of a human child.
Yes.
That's got to be clear and should be understood by this gentleman sitting next to me, but he continues to bring it up, so I'm not sure he gets it.
Yet still wanted to continue to try to maintain the pets while
I could have managed Sheba. It was Shaka. Shaka was the problem. Mm-hmm. Sheba, if we had gotten Shaka a more suitable environment, Sheba would have been
Shaka
fine.
Needed like a field.
Yes, he was as big as Sheba, but Sheba was like much older, but Shaka was a puppy and was still her size and very strong. They were a golden lab mix, mm-hmm. golden retriever lab mix. So, I do admit that mm-hmm. my mm-hmm. ability to care for the puppy and Sheba fell to the wayside once I got to once Braylon got here. Once she got here, it got a little difficult for me. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't my focus. I mean, it just wasn't my focus. My priority shifted.
Here we go. And we have, we figured that out over time. Mm-hmm. And here we are. So Rocco T'Challa Franklin is now.
We've corrected our mistakes.
And we're going to give it another shot. Our little one had a very great year at school this year. First place, highest average in social studies, and highest average in cyber technologies, and honor roll. Did a very good job. We're very proud of her, and she's wanted a puppy for quite a while. And of course, as with all things, Mom and Dad had to figure out whether or not we were ready to go down that road again.
Well, aside from her academic success, she also had a socially trying year. In 7th grade was a bit it was a bit touch and go there for a minute. She had, some social issues with the kids, and she pushed through and figured it out, and she communicated, and she, worked on herself and figured out how she manages things and what works for her and what doesn't work for her and what she's going to deal with and how she's going to deal with it. It was a tremendously big year in that she had to, kind of come to terms with who she is, and she did that work. And so, it was just time for her to see that we see her.
Yeah.
She's been wanting a puppy forever. So
in that vein, because we are pretty deliberate about, rewarding her when she does well, and, helping her to navigate these social situations, I want to talk about something that has kind of been bandied about, of course, at this time of year. Every year, it's prom season. School is, about to be out for a lot of people, and it's already out for some folks. It's already out for our little one. They've already had their last day of school, but the conversation always turns to prom, the prom pictures, the pre-prom parties, the introductions, the arrivals at prom season. Debate goes back and forth about how far and how extravagant you should go for prom celebrations. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it. As we are parents and we have had a little one who has asked us about, 8th grade dances and 9th grade dances, and will eventually be coming up on going to a prom very soon. It's not that far off. What are we prepared to do for prom season?
Provide transportation.
Okay.
A dress.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A hairdo.
Okay.
Some shoes.
That's the outfit.
That's about it.
That's it.
Maybe a photo shoot.
Now,
and that would be the pushing it.
So listen, you and I have both seen the extravagance that people have gone to with these proms, and the why y'all counting other people's money, and why y'all in people's pockets, and let these kids celebrate and let these folks celebrate. And these performances is what I'm calling them now. These prom pictures and these prom whatever, they're getting more and more extravagant and more expensive as the years go along. So if I'm looking at what's happening this year, I got to be honest with you, I'm a little afraid of what's going to be happening in 3 years and where the bar is going to be pushed and what we're going to be asked to do when prom season comes.
And if you're doing all this for prom, what's going to be left for your wedding? Because these
they're going even further.
Festivities look a lot like somebody walking down the aisle.
It does.
But I don't know. I don't really have a dish to die in on this particular subject, because I do believe to each his or her own. Mm-hmm. But I will mention that I think this is all just the world we live in today, and the world that we are influenced by social media. That's the only reason why I think these things are happening, because it's a show. When we didn't have social media, it wasn't that necessary. A picture would do. So, but it is the time that we live in. It's probably where we're headed. If you got it and that's what you want to do, sure. I mean, I think that celebrations are always valid. If you find a reason to celebrate. I don't really have an issue with that.
True.
Doesn't particularly align with anything I'm interested in doing. For over here, not now. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to prom for our daughter. I don't know. And I reserve the right to be like, yep, I'm going to do it too. But doesn't feel like something I'd be interested in, or our child at this point.
We can hope that our child wants to stay low key and be frugal, but also at the same time, we're already getting to the stage of, wanting the sleepovers and, particular styles of pants that she wants and the particular style of shoes. And, she's getting into that stage. And I got to tell you, as a father, and I know as a father, and speaking to all the fathers out there that have had to, to deal with this, I've got some anxiety about it. I'm telling you, I have some real anxiety about it 3 years out. I got some anxiety about it because there's no telling what the bar will be when it gets to that point. And I want my daughter to be happy, and I want her to enjoy her time. But you know me, you've met me, you're married to me. I just can't see myself going broke or spending a huge amount of money on a prom celebration. The dress, the shoes, the hair, that's great. Even if her date isn't able to, and we get a limo service maybe, sure, that's great. But what else are people going to be doing by that time? Is there going to be a pre-party? Is there going to be an after party? Is there going to be the need for balloons? Is there going to be the need to rent out a facility? Somebody's going to come to prom in a helicopter within the next 3 years. That hasn't happened yet, but somebody, somewhere, some black person is going to airlift their daughter or their son to the prom, and they're going to drop them off in a helicopter. What the hell do you do to top that?
Maybe it's not about topping it. Maybe it's about doing what you can when you can. I mean, you can't take it with you. You might as well celebrate it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of where you put your attention when you're coming up with your determination about whether or not this is extravagant or not. Because there are some people who wouldn't even consider this to be extravagant. So it's just what they do. That's how they want to do it.
Maybe it's because I'm not rich at this time, at this juncture.
I think that if we were rich, we probably still wouldn't do as much as what we're seeing, just because for us, we have experienced money and lacking it. Mm-hmm. And we spend our money on things that we can see again. Over and over again.
A return on the investment.
Yes. So that might be a tricky thing for us. However, this is the first time that we've actually, had a whole involved experience with prom. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm not closing the door on it. I just don't think at this point, she's 3 years away from it, but I don't think at this point we'd be going through quite as much as what we're seeing for a prom. But we also didn't go through all that for our wedding. So, we
didn't. And it's really,
that's just who we are.
It's one of the reasons why we are together. That's just who we are. We didn't spend a lot of money on a wedding. We had a very special night. It was a special evening, and it was a quality evening. Memorable for many reasons. We were the first people to be married in the Rose Garden at One Jaxn Place in Jackson, Mississippi. We were the very first people to do it. We set a precedent, as a matter of fact, because no one had ever done it before. We got special permission from Leland Speed, rest in peace, who allowed us to have our wedding there. That was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And because we had that space there, we were able to make something special happen, but we didn't spend a lot of money on that at all.
I don't know what we might, I guess, like on my dress and I had friends who did my hair and my makeup and, and for me, those are the quality memories for me, the emotion and the feeling and the energy that passes between you and the people that you're sharing these moments with. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't trade it at all. Yes, we did have a reception later where
that
we
cost
invited
more than a wedding.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it still didn't cost $2,000, so, and that, like, people are spending that on prom now.
Yes, they're spending that on prom and they're spending that on food for their weddings and their receptions. Our reception didn't cost a lot of money. We have always just been frugal because we had a goal in mind.
I don't know if I would consider it frugal as much as I would. Our attention has been on what we're doing more than the presentation. Yes. That's just how we function, even in our businesses and the events that we do. Like, it's more important the reason why we're here and what we're doing than it is what we're presenting. And I think that's what we don't have that a lot of other people do have. I don't know how we missed that, but we do create some wonderful memories. We do, experience personal connection with people every time we do something.
Right.
So I wouldn't trade it, but I don't think it's frugality. I think it's just a difference in priority and who we are.
Yeah, I think, we both really hate things that we go to that have elaborate presentations but no substance to them.
Yeah.
We encounter that a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you encounter that very same thing. So I think both of us have a real disdain for really extravagant productions that fall short on quality and substance. Dick Vitale used to call it the all airport squad. And the all airport squad is basically when you pull up, when the plane lands or the bus pulls up to your school and everybody gets off the bus and they got matching duffel bags and they got matching jogging suits and they got matching wristbands and they got a trainer and they get off and they look really good and they're really coiffed and everything looks great, and then they get out on the court and they play like shit and they're awful. Presentation means a lot to some people. For us, substance and quality, the meat of what you're getting to is much more important. And I think that's something that we want to teach our daughter.
Absolutely.
Well.
And I'm not saying that presentation isn't important, because I have been wowed at some events. Shoot, I'll be wowed at some people's houses,
Right.
It's just not us. That's just not our thing. It's just not what like, we are pretty basic people.
Yes.
I don't know if that's something to celebrate or if that works for other people. It doesn't really matter. It's just what works for us, and we're cool with it. So that's just our position on how things work.
And again, you do what works for you. And shouts out to all the parents. I do agree that we should celebrate our kids. I do agree that, you should not be ostracized or ridiculed because you want to celebrate your kids and do things for them. For some people, $1,000 is like $1, and it's not a problem. For some people, $10,000 is like $1, and to those people, I get it and I understand. But there are also some people out there, and let's just keep it real, there are also some people out there that $1,000 is a lot of money to come by, and because you are trying to keep up with what somebody has done, you are spending money that could be very well spent someplace else. And again, that's not telling you what to do with your money, but that is saying that you should not fall to peer pressure and don't put yourself in a bad position because peer pressure exists. Because that's the one thing that the Franklins are not going to do. If the situation calls for it and, we got to pull the reins back on something, we're going to do it. But we celebrate our daughter and all of our kids as much as we possibly can. And pretty much because she's the youngest, I think she probably gets doted on a lot more than the older kids do.
If you show your child that this is what a celebration looks like, then they may miss celebrating from the inside, and they may take on the thought process that celebration has to look a certain way, has to be a certain way, has to cost a certain amount of money. And they miss that very valuable lesson that says that you can celebrate yourself any time of day, any day, for no particular reason
or cost,
for no amount of money. That's important, and that will carry them through the rest of their lives, because they are not celebrating because they don't have something. You can always find it inside. So that's just that's my position on why it might not be the best idea. But if you can do that, and you can, help a child or shape a child and mold a child into understanding their significance to the world, with whether they have money or not, whether they have a big, huge presentation, they are the presentation.
Yes.
So it's important for impressionable minds not to get caught up in those things and then build these ideas about who they are that can be washed away with water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my thing about it. It's more important for me to build from the inside, because a lot of people don't get that opportunity. When they get everything handed to them real pretty and flashy, they begin to believe that that's where their value lies.
Yes, in the presentation. And you push the envelope, and then you're creating, young people who are expecting to be celebrated in every sense and in every fashion. And then when they're not, it becomes a problem when it happens. I saw some of the parents talking about the end of the school year awards, and some of the kids getting participation trophies at the schools now. They're giving away participation trophies to the kids that don't win awards in the particular classes, and how detrimental that is to your kids long term for receiving any type of accolade for just showing up. And showing up is important, but at the end of the day, you're setting a precedent for your kid to actually feel like they should be applauded for doing the bare minimum. And you're also diminishing the kids who did put in the work at the end of that day. So you're creating a generation of kids who feel like, well, you know, I had a limo and I had a party and I had a DJ and I had a performance at my prom party when I went to the prom. Then that's somebody who, when they go to college or when they do this and when they do that, you know, they're going to have a set expectation. And if that expectation is not met, then they're going to feel like they have failed.
Yeah.
And it sets them up.
Could possibly.
Yeah. And it sets them up. So, you know, we want to, of course, set very high expectations and set the bar very high, and we have for our grown kids as well. But we also want to allot for realism, and we want to allot for what they're going to experience in the world as well.
While trying to understand what we're experiencing in the world. Because sometimes it gets away from you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It does. And you have to understand that, you know, if we impress upon them that quality is the most important thing and your experience is the most important thing, then we can, you know, use that as a springboard to kind of teach in these other levels. But when you start off the bat just saying we're just going to throw money at this and we're going to spend money on this, you know, even the people that have, you know, and I have a niece that did this, you know, family members that did this, spending extravagant amounts of money for birthday parties for 1 and 2 year olds. It's the most ridiculous thing that I can even fathom for a 1 or 2 year old that is not going to even remember this birthday party, not even interested in what's happening in a lot of instances, is a little afraid and has anxiety from having so many people around them at 1 or 2 years old. And you got lights, bells and whistles, a photographer, a 360 booth, all these things at a 1 or 2 year old or 3 year old or 4 year old's birthday party. And you're only doing this. You're only doing it because you want to stunt for other grown folk. You're not doing that for your infant.
At that point, is it for the child or is it for you? Mm-hmm. If it's for you, just say it's for you.
It's for your own hubris is what it is. It's for your own hubris. It's for what you feel like you didn't get. That kid is not going to remember that party.
Or for you to make some sort of statement to your friends or the other people, or just to be able to post it on social media.
Because if it's about the kid at the end of the day, the kid will be fine with
a cake.
With a cake.
Maybe.
At 2 or 3 years old, a cake, and even not even that, a toy that they're going to spend the rest of their day playing with that you have gotten them, and they'll remember that more than anything. You know, and we talked about this offline. You know, adults have to stop making it about them, stop making it about you. I'm just really adamant about that. I'm just an advocate for the kids. Kazi loves the kids, man.
I mean, if you're going to have a birthday party and say, I have done well, I have raised this child for a year on my own with no help, and I feel like I want to celebrate it, that is fine.
That party needs to be for you.
Fine. But let folks know this party is for us. Mm-hmm. She turning 1, but it's my birthday party. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It's my celebration of raising her to be 1.
And you can celebrate that. I mean, that's fine. Some people have a really hard time and deserve to celebrate it. Now, the extent of what you doing and presenting, that's up to you. Mm-hmm. But I'm not here to judge what these people are doing and how they decide to do it. But there are ramifications for these choices, so
yes, long term.
That would be the thing that would concern me most, is what exactly are you teaching your child? What is the precedent that you are forming? Mm-hmm, what are you going to have to continue to do? And what is this child how is it going to affect the child? Just so you can make a grand statement. Like, who is that really for? I don't know. That's just where my mind goes.
Yeah. So we're going to switch gears and we're going to pivot a little bit. Something else that I sent you as well that we had like a preliminary conversation on that you're familiar with. Derrick Jaxn's wife has been doing a series of interviews. She is talking Now, for those of you that, may not be familiar in the social media world that we live in, Derrick Jaxn was, I don't know what you would call him, a relationship guru, a social media relationship guru who gave advice to ladies on how to pick men, gave relationship advice, got very popular, wrote a book, sold books, got views, got likes. I think, got invited to speak and be on panels and things of that nature. And his wife is speaking now since they have gotten a divorce. They had a very viral and controversial video that they did together, as he was coming to respond to some allegations that were against him. But she's speaking out now. And I'll just say, to start off the conversation, because you're familiar, Derrick Jaxn was warning us all of these years about himself. It's what he was doing. He was warning us of the fuckery and the fuckboyness that exists in the world, while simultaneously telling us that he was the very fuckboy that he was warning us about. And his wife is talking about it right now. And one of the things that she said is that she found herself knowing the bodies of the women that her husband was sleeping with more so than she knew her own. And you had some opinions about that, but I want to get your thoughts on it because, you kind of been following it. But, when you saw the interviews and you kind of heard what she was talking about, what were some of your first thoughts?
I was empathetic to her because I know that feeling very well. I can completely understand if you've ever been in an abusive relationship or ever been cheated on in a regular kind of way. Then,
a regular kind of way.
Yeah, because some people are like chronic cheaters.
Right.
If you've ever been with one, then that they, especially narcissists like Mr. Jaxn, have a tendency to destroy your self-esteem and then make you adapt to their mentality and perception of life as your own. So you begin to believe everything is wrong with you and everything is right with them. So whenever they critique you or say something's wrong to you, then it's fact. It's not an opinion, it's fact. And that's where you end up. So her watching people that he's attracted to or that cheated on her, that he cheated on her with, that is not far-fetched for me to believe. I can believe that if she had a very low self-esteem and she believed he was everything, and then him cheating on her would mean that she's nothing. So she would then try to do everything she could to become what he is attracted to become what he wants, what he desires, what he loves. So she'd watch the people that he cheated with. That makes perfect sense to me. It makes it's definitely from a place of brokenness and a victimization, but it is very it's not hard for me to believe. I was actually there once. You just kind of study and watch them and see how you can look like them, how you can act like them, how you can do. But it all comes from a place of being abused. So my heart went out to her, and I'm glad that she's saying it out loud, because there's power in saying it out loud. You can believe it once you say it out loud. And I know that people are having a hard time wrapping their heads around the fact that she would do that. But those are people who haven't experienced it, I think. So, give her a little bit of grace. She's trying to work her way through it. The man did a number on her, and I know that number very well. So, yeah, when I read it, I was like, dang.
And that's the interesting thing, because when you read it and when you listen to her do the interview, it sounds so crazy, and you say to yourself, there's no way that this could possibly be happening in this dimension on this planet, in Earth right now. And and talking to you and having conversations with you and in your past experiences, which we always talk about, you find out that yes, it's a lot more prevalent than you would even know. It really actually happens, and it's happening more so. This is just an incident where somebody's talking about it in public, but it's happening right now. Someone who could be possibly dealing with this right now.
Yeah, but on the norm, the way it's presented is hateration. Oh, she ain't even that hot. Look at her. This is that wrong with that. But they're actually studying that woman to try to figure out why he likes her. That's still the same thing that she's saying. She's just allowing herself to break in order to fix herself and being honest and being forthcoming about what she's finding about herself. Mm-hmm. But women do that every day who have been cheated on. It just doesn't look like vulnerability. It looks like I got myself together and I'm better than her. But it's still the same thing. They still studying. They still insecure. They still broken. They still want to figure out what it is about that woman that he's choosing that she's not. They may not admit that, but that's actually the same thing that she's talking about. She's just actually being more open and honest about her experience that we see on the norm, because it's not something you want to say out loud.
Right, because it's embarrassing. But, I think this is her way of working her way through it. For me, and people had their opinions. I had my opinions. I didn't speak about them publicly, but when I saw Derrick Jaxn's videos, there were times where I agreed with some of the stuff that he was saying. And then there was other times where I felt like he was kind of doing a little simping. There were some dudes who pretty much 100% thought that he was simping all the way across the board. But of course, his clientele and his audience was women. Because he was saying things contrary to what you saw other people out there saying. He was kind of the anti-Kevin Samuels, so to speak, which leads me to the point of saying, the type of shit human being you have to be, because at the base level, for me, it's a compassion issue. It's a human compassion issue. The narcissism that exists for you to have your wife, allowing her to, making accessible to her the sex tapes of you and the women that you are cheating on her with. And she's watching them. She's watching what y'all are doing sexually and trying to mimic it for you in an effort to win you over these particular women. How do you get to the point where you're allowing her to watch these videos, which means that she is acknowledging that she's being cheated on, and you are acknowledging that I don't care that you know that I'm cheating on you. As a matter of fact, here are the videos. Like, how do we get to that point?
Abuse. It's really hard for me to help you understand it, because it's really something you just have to go through to understand. But you really basically lose yourself, and it's not something that you're proud of. It's not something you want to go broadcasting to anybody, but you lose everything you know about yourself just because this man has completely stripped you of all that you know of who you were and made you into the person that he wants you to be. Him telling her to watch this and learn from it, this is what I want. It's not hard to fathom that she'd be ready, willing, and able to do that for him. That's not even hard for me to believe or even fathom, because that's all she know. That's what she think love is. That's what she wants. She wants to please him. She wants to be accepted by him. And so him telling her to do that, it's not really that hard for me to understand, because it's a sad situation for it to happen, but it's very real. It happens,
The hypocrisy of it all, and understanding your experience, baby. But the hypocrisy of it all for me as a man, it angers me. Because we have reached this level in social media where people are doing these things, and they're doing them for likes and shares, and they're doing them to sell books. And for the most part, a lot of these people are not living what they're saying that they're living. It's almost like you're watching a reality show. And I know you're kind of a fan of reality shows. We were watching a couple of the reunion shows the other day. It gets to a point where you have to understand that social media is not a real place. It's not a real universe. It's not the real world. And people are creating what they want to see and shaping their own reality in this social media world. And they're profiting off of it. They're making money off of it. This man made money and wrote a book off of warning women and telling women what to look for in men and what to look out for when men were not being genuine about what they were doing, and then the entire time this man is cheating on his wife and gaslit her enough to the point where they did a video together, and she put a curse on all the women who had something negative to say about them. She cursed them on a video. I did see someone say that, we do feel sorry for Derrick Jaxn's wife, but what's she gonna do about that curse that she put on all of us? Is she gonna lift the curse that she put on folks? But that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're gaslit. Gaslighting is a real thing, and you were looking at someone who was being gaslit. You were looking at someone who went to the ends of the earth to defend a fuckboy that she was married to because mentally she was out of whack. And you've talked about this on several occasions. It happens more frequently than y'all know, folks. And again, we don't talk about these things on this podcast because we think that we're perfect, and we think that we know what's happening, and we think that, we have the answers for everything. We had these conversations because, we talk through it every day. My wife has been very open and vocal on this podcast about her history of abuse and what she came out of and what she had to deal with, and how she counsels people that come to her as a spiritual healer, the clients that she talks to that are dealing with abuse issues. And these are real things that we're dealing with. I hope that she is able to work her way through it. I hope that doing these interviews helps her to work through it. I think now she's smarter going forward. I think now Derrick Jaxn's grift, as it were, his ability to make money on the internet, I think it will be severely hurt. I think he'll still be able to make money because people are stupid. Kevin Samuels was able to make money. There's still a lot of you out there that, in my opinion, are not compassionate and good human beings. And when you hear people say terrible things like this or do terrible things like this, you still can't bring yourself to think that, they're irredeemable. So Derrick Jaxn will probably go out and he'll probably figure out a way to spin this and figure out a way to continue to make money because, being on the internet and, being a hypocrite is probably one of the few ways that, he's not talented enough to make money in any other sense, in any other way. But it's wild. And my heart goes out to her. And actually my heart goes out to all the women who, dealt with him, who got filmed and, had their business displayed to other people. But that's kind of what happens when you're dealing with a narcissist and you're dealing with an abuser.
Yeah. I just want to say that, you spoke about compassion. It's really easy to make judgments from the outside looking in on what the woman should do and how did she let this happen, and she must be crazy and she should just leave. And, it's really easy to make those judgments. But when you are, and I speak from experience, when you are in it, it's not that clear. It's not as cut and dry as you think it is. There is a thing that happens inside you where if you feel completely attached, like your breathing and your heart beats when his does, your breath comes when he takes a breath, and it's designed that way. Narcissists operate that way. But if you're not aware, or if you're vulnerable, or if you already have issues that you need to work on, and you become, if you find yourself in this kind of situation, it's really not as easy as, why don't you just leave? It really is not that easy. Yeah. And it's disregarding, and it's not compassionate, and it's insulting to the victim for us to pass this kind of judgment. And I'm triggered right now. And it's been years since I went through this, and I've done a whole lot of work on it. But, I still have difficulty with digesting the idea of being this woman, that I allowed myself to be that I was put in that position, that I didn't see, that I didn't understand, that I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know. And it's still difficult for me to understand how Mary and Howard Spencer's youngest daughter could find herself in that situation. So I don't need anybody else making me feel bad about that. Neither does she. So I would just say try to, have a little bit of compassion and give her a little bit of grace as she figures it out.
And it's not her fault. It wasn't your fault. It's not her fault. It's the fault of the fuck boy that you are dealing with at the end of the day. And that's just what it is. Fuck boys have special powers and abilities and ways that they manipulate again and gaslight and twist and turn and abuse mentally and spiritually. They have a special way of doing it, and women are ensnared in that, and that's what happens. So understand that it is not your fault, and hopefully, if there's anyone out there listening that is experiencing that, you are around people that are strong enough to help to pull you out of that and help you to deal with that and help you to work your way through that. But real quick, before we get out of here, I want to ask you real quick. I sent you this graphic, this picture, of course. It's a photo at a dentist office. The dentist said that, no bonnets, no sleepwear, no house shoes when coming into my office for service. Caused a little bit of a stir because, dentists are medical professionals. And then, people asked about, going to the hospital, going to your regular, medical practitioner or whoever it is. Should medical professionals be able to determine what you wear to come see them? Should they be able to have a dress code at the dentist's office or at the doctor's office?
Is it a private practice?
I'm assuming so.
They can say whatever they want to. You can choose to go or not.
As a medical professional, you feel like they should be able to do
as
that.
Any kind of professional.
You worked in the health field and you're a woman, you feel like that's cool.
I ain't saying it's cool, but they had a right to do it. They had a right to do it. It's their business. I could tell people that at my business.
I guess you could. Personally, again, here's one of these things. We talked about it last week. I could be crazy. I don't really see the big deal. I really don't see the big deal. But then again, you're talking about a guy who I pretty much wear flip-flops and socks to every event that happens when I go out. I'm in a leisure mode. But, if you want to wear your bonnet out and, you want to wear your house shoes out to go do something, if you're comfortable, just do it. I don't know
under what circumstances he would make that that sort of statement. I don't know what the reason would be, but it's highly likely, because I'm thinking about this for myself. Under what circumstances would I find myself in a bonnet going to a medical professional?
If it's 7 a.m.
And I'll be honest with you, there have been times where I just did not feel well, and if I'm going to the dentist with a toothache, putting on clothes and looking cute might not be the first thing on my mind. So I'm just going to roll out of bed and get in there as quickly as possible if I have an actual toothache. If you're going in for some sort of work that's been, an appointment or something, maybe that's different. Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, go to another dentist.
What's your general, because we haven't talked about this on there before. I think we talked about it personally. What's your general rule as a woman for the bonnets on the outside? I don't think we really have that issue. You don't do it. You got a certain way that you do things. But what's your general rule on the bonnets outside the house?
For me?
For you, and then your opinion.
For me, I would not wear a bonnet out.
House shoes or sleepwear?
I'd wear house shoes. I'd probably wear sleepwear, but I sleep in dresses that or used to be dresses. So that's not really a big deal for me. If I got to run up to the store, to the gas station, now the gas station, that's where it really go down. Now, if I'm going in a real store, I'm probably going to take more time to put something on. But if I look like I have on clothes and not pajamas, I'm cool, whether I sleep in it or not.
So you're generally against the bonnet outside?
I wouldn't wear it, but I don't feel like anybody has the right to tell somebody else. I know that you don't. I'm asking
you a question that
I
know.
I wouldn't do it, but I don't feel like anybody else has the right to make any judgment on somebody else wearing anything.
It's not that big of a deal.
If you going on a flight, you want to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? If you going to the dentist office or to ER or to the emergency room, you know you're going to be there 8 hours. What you getting spiffy for? You might as well just come in there.
Especially the airport when you got that 6 o'clock flight in the morning.
I think it's kind of getting a little out of hand.
It's ridiculous, man.
You know, but again, I don't know what the reason is for why they're making these, you know, these rules and regulations and such. I just don't get it.
It's a ridiculous thing. And then, you know,
if it's a matter of this is just my preference, I want all my clients to look a certain kind of way, then that's ridiculous.
That's discriminatory, you know, in and of itself. I mean, I don't have if you chose to wear your bonnets out, that was cool. I wouldn't have any problem with it. You know, the mothers that come up to the schools, you know, as long as, you know, here's the thing, and I'm just going to say this, of course, you know what I'm saying? If you know, make sure you zip it up, and you got your cleavage up, you know, and it's not, you know, you're not just sagging all over the place coming up. You know what I'm saying?
No, baby. What are you saying?
I don't know. I might want to retract that.
Yeah, keep going.
I might want to retract that. You know what? I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to put a period in that right there. I'm going to move on to the next thing. This is what I'm going to say right here. What I'm saying is this. A lot of fellas is like, I don't like when my wife puts the bonnet on at night or wraps her head up or when she comes to bed in the house coat. Like, I don't understand any of that. You know what I'm saying? Because in the Franklin household, if the bonnet goes on and the house coat is on, either way, we's fucking. Either way, it's going down. As a matter of fact, I think I prefer when the bonnet is on.
Maybe they don't like the bonnet because they're only attracted to what they women look like when they made up.
And that's a problem. If you can't roll over in the morning and look at your wife and be attracted the same way, you know, when she rolls over in the morning without makeup, and she has to be made up and the hair has to be done for you to be attracted to her, then I don't know if you did all of your research all the way across the board. That's just me, personally. For me, when my wife doesn't have any makeup on and no lashes and has got that bonnet on in the bed, she is absolutely super duper sexy to me. I love it. And the house coat and the house shoes, it ain't nothing more sexy to me than to come in the kitchen and my wife got a bonnet on and a house coat and house shoes and she in there making some bacon in the kitchen. It's nothing more sexy than
That's weird,
that,
dude.
right there. There ain't nothing more sexy to me than that, because that means we in this house. We in here together. We live together. We a couple.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? That's comfort for me.
Okay.
I don't need you to get all whipped up to go in the kitchen and make breakfast or to get up to go down to the store in the morning. We in here and we see each other at our absolute earliest, at our worst, at our most unkempt, and we are cool with that. And that's what I'm cool with. And I don't have any problem with that really at the end of the day. So, you know, sorry for you fellas who feel a certain way. When my wife ties her hair up, that doesn't mean that shop is closed when she tie her hair up. When she tie her hair up, that means that the shop is probably open and just open at the point that she tied her hair up or when she puts that bonnet on. You know.
Baby, you don't care. It could be
I don't care. I really don't give a damn.
It could be.
I really don't give a damn. It's going to go down either way. Either way, it's going down. Tied up in a bonnet or down. If it happens to be down and I'm lucky enough that it's there, that's great. But it doesn't have to be. We going to do it either way. House coat, we just going to
baby, okay, we get it.
Unbutton that thing. Throw them house shoes off. It's going to be
oh my God.
It's going to be going down in that thing. Anyway, man, I feel sorry for you brothers. If you're not a real big fan of the bonnets, that's cool. To each his own. At the end of the day, that's, I think, the motto of this show, the running theme. To each his own, you know, do what works. At any rate, we're going to put a pin in it right there. And we use the words put a pin in it quite frequently over the past couple of days. We've been saying it quite frequently, but that's another sidebar conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for joining in with us again, of course, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Check us out right here on YouTube. You can join in the conversation and you can leave comments as we premiere at 7 p.m. on every Tuesday. Make sure you're checking us out on all streaming services and on YouTube as well. And of course, as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And we'll see you guys next time on the Court of Kaz Queen. All right, peace out.